Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda and Barker Kia.
We're here with former NFL college coach Paul Pasqualoni. Paul, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And you're retired now, or semi-retired, I should say, but had a long time coaching in the collegiate and also the professional ranks. And so think about this camp here, Louisiana Line Camp.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, Mike, way back when I was a young coach at Syracuse, I was coaching the linebackers. And in the spring, I want to say, of 1988, we wanted to go visit a team that was in the 3-4 defense. And Mike Archer was the head coach at LSU. He's a State College, Pennsylvania guy. I went to Penn State. So I knew Mike. And we called him. He said, sure, come on down and visit. So we went down to LSU, and lo and behold, Coach Jenkins was the defensive line coach.
When he was a much younger man, like all of us were.
Yeah, so that was the first time I met Coach Pete and spent a few days with him. You know, in those days, it was all 16-millimeter film, and he had his bag of film with him. And he had all his cut-ups in that bag. And I had a heck of a time with him for 3 or 4 days, just spring practice, talking ball, and watching film, and have stayed in touch with him all these years. Now, this is my first visit to the Louisiana Line Camp. Always been working, always been busy, so never had the opportunity to come. Heard a lot about it, but never had the chance to come. So I had a few days off in this year, so I wanted to make it a point to come down.
Okay, being, as you say, semi-retired, you still miss coaching.
Oh yeah, I got into it.
You're never out of your blood. It's
right.
Never out.
Right. You know, I went to college to be a teacher. And so when I graduated, I wasn't a good player. I was at Penn State. There were a lot of great players. You know, I was probably the worst linebacker in the history of the school that probably has the best linebackers.
The linebacker, right?
There you go. You know, like Jack Ham was a Hall of Fame guy. I was just a third-team player. But my intention was to get into teaching and coaching, so I started teaching elementary school, and my first job was volunteer 9th grade coach. And I thought I had the best job in America.
Man. We think about it, and you know, kind of growing up and watching Joe Paterno and what Joe Paul did to the game. I think at the end, really was a disservice to him of how he was treated.
Yeah, I think it was sad the way the whole thing ended. Joe had a great impact on a lot of people, a lot of players, and you know, I had such a great experience there at Penn State. So for me, it was just a positive thing.
One of the things, I do a TV show, Bobby Hebert and Rich Marty. And so Rich says, Mike, other than my dad, Joe Paterno had the biggest impact on me of any other person in my life.
Yeah, he taught you to be detailed, and he always said, take care of the little things. If you take care of the little things in life, the big things will take care of themselves. He wanted you to always comport and conduct yourself in a proper manner. He wanted you to look professional, he wanted you to act professional, and he wanted you to treat people with dignity and respect regardless. And there were a lot of life lessons you learned every single day, way beyond football.
I take a look at this group, and even from 5 years back, see the size of these young guys, 14, 15 years old, and you're like, what? Look the size of these guys today. I think that and their athleticism is the biggest jump I've seen in football.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And going along with that, you know, the technology and the training that's available, and with modern technology and all the film that they can watch and study, and camps they can attend, nutrition, coaching, it's just a different breed of cat in this day and age.
No question about it. Why it rings a bell to me, Coach Paul, is I remember Coach O was here for 1 year at Nichols, and then he goes to Syracuse. And boy, he gives me a call and says, hey, D-boy, man, I'm freezing my ass over here in Syracuse. It's cold over here. He said, man, this place is great, but man, it's too cold for me. I got to get out of here. One way or another, he ends up at SC. But kind of tell us a Coach O story or two that you can tell.
Yeah.
'Cause we got some of them we can't tell, but some of them that you can tell about Coach O.
Yeah, well, I needed a defensive line coach. And I had a really good player, big kid from Midwood High School, Antonio Anderson. Eddie nicknamed him Big Cat, because he was about 6'7", about 300 pounds, athletic as heck. And I needed a real good coach to coach him, because there was a lot of potential there. And I had some other good players in the D-line. So I called a real good friend of mine by the name of Bobby Carmelowitz. Bobby was the premier defensive line coach in the NFL, and he had worked at Miami, and he had worked with Eddie. And he grew up in the town next to me in Connecticut. I grew up in Cheshire. Bobby grew up in Plainville, and we always stayed in touch. So I need this defensive line coach. So I called Bobby. I said, Bobby, I need a defensive line coach. I know I can't hire you, but who should I hire? Without hesitating, he says, you got to hire Eddie. I said, where is Eddie? I lost track of Eddie. He said he's in exile at Nicholls State. He's coaching at Nicholls State. I said, okay, give me his number. Got his number, I called him. I said, Ed, I'm going to be at the convention. It's in Dallas this year. Why don't I meet you at the hotel and we'll talk about you coming to Syracuse. So I walk in the door at a hotel and Eddie's waiting at the counter. I said, okay, I got my room key. We went up to my room. He moves all the furniture out of the way, moves the bed, moves the chairs, moves everything, and we start the clinic, and he starts to talk ball. Well, about an hour and a half later, I said, okay, Ed, you got the job. So, and then he came to Syracuse, and he just did a fabulous job for us, for the 3 years. I think he was with us 3 years. Just did a fabulous job recruiting. I put him in New York City. Those guys in New York City to this day love him. They love the guy.
And they all imitate him.
They try to imitate him.
They all try to imitate him. Looking at the current status of college football today, NIL transfer portal situation, you're in a head coaching position there. Man, how would you handle that today?
I don't know how you handle it, Mike, to tell you the truth. It's just, to be able to coach and develop the team the way we did years back, pride in the school, pride in your team. I just think it's all turned into the money. It's all turned into I need more money, I need more money. And these head coaches and these coaching staffs with the portal, recruiting being where it's at now, spring visits in June. This is an official visit weekend this weekend in college football. I just don't know how these guys manage it and how they handle all of it.
And yet, the popularity of the game is as high as it's ever been.
It's through the roof. It's absolutely through the roof. When you watch college football and you watch the playoffs and the expanded playoffs now, and you come here and you see 700 young kids on the field. Yeah. My son's a graduate assistant at BC. They had 800 kids last Sunday. You're going to have another 700 this Sunday in camp. So the game is growing, and I think the safety of the game, the technology of the game, I honestly believe the game's better than it's ever been right now.
And I do think that, the crazy part, there are college players that have more name recognition than professional players, some of them.
Yeah, and
that goes to show how the game has grown so much.
So much, and having said that, not only do some have more notoriety, their salaries are also bigger. Than some
they got to take a pay cut.
They got to take a pay cut. They're better off staying in college another year. I'd stay 5 years if I was them.
Coach Paul, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Pleasure to talk to you.
Nice talking to you.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda and Barker Kia.